Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys been enjoying the content channel as of late. Just taking it easy today. I was meaning to do something. I was gonna go out, as I told you, I was gonna go out and do something. But I got under the weather, unfortunately, and I had to skip it. So a little bummed about that. But things happen, and well, gives me time to do other things. So, you know, well, you know, I don't know if he watches this channel. I feel like he does. Noah, again, pop. Sorry, man. I wish that I could have shown, but I just got a little under the weather, and I just didn't want to get you guys sick. So, but hopefully the party was fun. Sounded like it was going to be a lot of fun. Um, but uh, but uh, Anywho, we're gonna do this video because we did, month by month, but I kind of want to also dedicate time to talking about each specific quarter, just to illustrate how things have been going in a more broader sense and comparing also each quarter. Because by the end of this video, I'll be comparing last year's first quarter to this year's first quarter. So we're going to take a look back at the spring season for 2025 as we are now very shortly entering the summer season. So I wanted to do that. But before we get into all that, as we always do with these videos, I just want to illustrate how I measure box office because it's kind of a case by case basis. Some people, use the umbrella term of like 2 times or 3 times. I like to break it down because I feel like it's a little bit more coherent this way. And I think a little more fair depending on the investments. So single digits, I always do 2 times. Double digits, I always do 2.5. And triple digits, I feel you should always triple the budgets. And I also include any publicly known marketing expenses or any other related expenses. And if the information is not available, I always judge it just purely by just its production cost alone. So, so let's recap. Let's look into the spring and see how things shaped. So, how we're going to do this is that I'm going to go by studio. So, we're going to talk about each studio, the films that they released during this quarter, and seeing where they fell into, good or bad box office takes. And by the end of this video, I'll be showing you an overview in a graph of sorts, showing you how everything kind of went this quarter in comparison to the last quarter. So let's get into it. So the first company, and it's all by random, by the way. I'm just kind of doing this randomly. Um, First company that we're going to look into is Neon. Neon actually had a fairly decent first quarter. Very low budgeted studio. They're kind of very similar in the vein of like Blumhouse. They don't usually dabble in higher expenses, and pretty much it seems worked in their favor. Had some good results with films such as Presence and The Monkey. Presence being actually a single digit, where The Monkey was a double digit. Um, the one little hiccup that they had was Hell of a Summer, but that was because that was released right next to a Minecraft movie, which was probably not the best of strategies. But yeah, Neon seemed to have done fair enough for the first quarter. Then moving on from that, we're going to look at Sony. Sony had more of a evenly matched quarter, with films such as One of Them Days and Until Dawn actually proving to do well. Surprisingly so, I thought that film would actually get buried, but thanks to the foreign market, it actually did okay. And the two that didn't do as well were soft failures. Hard Eyes just didn't really pull through, and same thing with Paddington. Even though they had greenlit a fourth film, if you go look at how the film was performed, and in comparison to the other films, it's the lowest grossing, and by measure just production, it didn't really turn much of a profit. So it was kind of an evenly matched season for Sony. So it wasn't great, but it also wasn't terrible either. So Speaking of bad news, though, if I'm correct in the next one, yeah, Universal. Universal definitely didn't have the best of times in the first quarter. Had a lot of failures compared to only three that really did well for the company. Dogman, which pulled through. Bridget Jones, which did very well overseas, even though it was also released in conjunction with a streaming release. And Drop, which was Blumhouse, and Blumhouse, as we've illustrated, does very small with their production cost. Sometimes, though, that doesn't always work in their favor. In the case of something like Wolfman, that did not that didn't do much of anything. I think Wolfman was a little bit more pricey compared to Drop, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit. But clearly, that didn't resonate as well as Love Hurts, Last Breath, Black Bag, and The Woman in the Yard. A lot of films. Another film by Blumhouse, actually, The Woman in the Yard. Um, Clearly, there was a lot of room for improvement for Universal when it came to this quarter, and yeah, there were some bright spots, but definitely could have been definitely could have been better for them as a company. Next company we're going to look at is Warner Brothers. Now, they had, of course, the best in terms of a singular outing, of course, the Minecraft movie, which is currently domestically, I believe, the highest grossing film of the year. Also, Sinners, which also pulled through, had actually a very steady box office, very consistent box office take each week. But they too also had their share of failures. Companion, which um, it may look like it was a success, but there's actually, I believe it was like 30 million or something like that additional with marketing campaign. So factoring that in and seeing how the film did, just by that alone, obviously didn't do as well. Mickey 17, we've talked about before, definitely, was not a success story. Lost the company millions of dollars. And the Alto Knights, which also proved to be quite the failure. So there were some bright spots. Definitely, the company needed some bright spots, just because, as we've discussed a little bit about the company, they're in a they're in a transition period. So the current leadership definitely needed something to show as, hey, we can still provide for the company, and now they can, with these two examples. And uh, probably by the end of this weekend, also with Final Destination, which we'll discuss in the news roundup. So so they're kind of having a little bit of a of a comeback in some ways, but we'll see how the summer unfolds with films like Superman, because that's definitely going to be a make or break for the company. So, but uh, not the greatest, but not the worst either. Definitely some bright spots. Definitely with Minecraft, especially for the company. So, okay, next company we're going to look at is Lionsgate. Um, Yeah, from here on out, we're going to talk about companies that, well, took a nosedive in this quarter. Lionsgate was definitely one of them. None of their films that turned a profit. Den of Thieves 2, Flight Risk, Unbreakable Boy, which definitely didn't do well. That one just flopped real hard. Yeah, just continues the trend with this company. They just are they don't have strong legs. Um, a lot of what they're putting out is just not as enticing. So yeah, just kind of sucks for the company right now. So hopefully, hopefully something comes along that that reverses course. I think they're hoping that the next John Wick spinoff, Ballerina, they're hoping that maybe that will do them well. I highly doubt it. I just don't think there's that much interest for said film. But yeah, definitely not a great start for Lionsgate. Definitely not. And to follow up with that, we have Disney. Disney definitely has not had a great start. Probably some of the bigger flops of the year so far with Captain America 4, Snow White, of course, definitely the biggest failure of the year uh, by just measurements, just how much it's cost, and marketing expenses. Probably one of the biggest flops in years. Like not sugarcoating that. And then the amateur just kind of came and went. So yeah, definitely not a great start for Disney either. Thunderbolts also just starting off on the second quarter, not doing the greatest either. So it's a little bit of a struggle period for Disney. So they'll probably get some. They're definitely going to get some a bit of a rebound because Lilo and Stitch, I think, is definitely going to do well. So I think that that's going to be a saving grace for them this upcoming month or this current month that we're in. But for a starting period, yeah, definitely not starting on the strongest of feet. So next company we'll talk about is A24. Yeah, I don't. It still surprises me that A24 can function as a company because they don't. They rarely get hits, and more evidence so here with four films that they had put out in the first quarter, and none of them proved to be profitable. Not a single one. Opus just came and went. Death of a Unicorn just came and went. Warfare didn't have really a lot of attention, and Legend of Oki just came and went. It's just not a whole lot of attention given to these films, some of which have good reception to them, and others not so much. Namely, Death of the Unicorn, I've not heard the strongest things on. Um, but it just surprises me that this company can still function today. I'm pretty sure there's, you know, other films that they've come that I probably am forgetting, but lately they just have not been doing the best. Even last year, I remember like with films like Baby Girl and other stuff, that they just haven't really been pulling their weight or really have really been the strongest at the box office. So just kind of continuing the diminishing returns with this company, with this studio. So. And lastly, we have Amazon. Amazon once again continuing their trend of putting movies in theaters, not making money, and will make the excuse that it will do better on streaming. Which again, I always ask, if that's the mentality, why is it not on streaming in the first place? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just a moronic rationale. It's just their way to basically cover their asses just so that they don't look incompetent. Um, but clearly, those ambitions in the theater have yet to prove worthwhile. Both A Working Man and The Accountant 2 both did not perform well. A Working Man, again, you have to. There's marketing expenses that were revealed. I think this was also like a 30 something million. Like it's kind of like on the softer side for marketing, but still counts. And with how it's performed, not the greatest. The Accountant 2 just generally has not done well. Um, yeah, again, Amazon, I think you're better off just putting films on streaming platforms, doing the route of what Netflix does, just putting films on streaming and then just not procuring the numbers, not releasing the numbers at all. Because clearly the investments, they're not working out. Or at least the strategies and release are not working out for you guys. So now we can get into some specifics, I believe. So here, oh wait, no, I'm sorry. There's this is little bits here and there from individual studios that are also noteworthy. So of course, the other noteworthy piece from that was a, a success story was of course The King of Kings. That was by Angel Studios. Did very well for them. And then some other films of which that didn't do well that were from individual studios. We have Better Man, which was a big failure for them. It was a big budget, like something like over $100 million. Didn't do well at all for Paramount. In the Lost Lands, which was Vertical Entertainment, I believe, that came and went. Just did not do well. The Electric State I'm counting because we know by investment there's no way this film did well. Netflix didn't say anything about it. So by that alone, I'm going to say that this is a failure. This is a 400 plus, I believe, $1 million thing, like something crazy like that. Yeah. Netflix didn't say anything about it, so I'm assuming that this flopped. And then, of course, we have the Looney Tunes film, which came and went. Warner Brothers didn't want to distribute it; they just sold it off to a different company. And I think believe the same company is now also dealing with Coyote versus Acme, which okay, I don't know who's going to see that, but that's also a thing. So we'll see how that goes. But now we can get into graphs. So here is what I made for this year so far. Now, I didn't put in specifics just because I forgot to. Also, to be fair, there's 3 films on this list that are missing, which are added to the double digit ratio. So just so we understand, um, just so it's perfectly fair. But without those 3, it's still it would make it even more concerning when I actually show you in relation to last year's, which we'll show you right now. So this is last year's on the right, and full disclosure, also obviously, a lot more films came out, at least noteworthy wise, and also put on the on this graph. There's more on the left than there are to the right. Um, so just so we're being fair here. Um, so but as you can tell by just that alone, there is just with the more that are on the left, you can see how it's not even able to compete with the small amount that's here on the right. We have 20% of films so far this year that are double digits that have proven successful, and 6% if you count Sinners, because I've seen Sinners being apparently it was 100 million. A lot of people say 90, but I've heard 100 million elsewhere from like Hollywood Reporter. So I'm just counting it as that. I could be wrong on that though, but I don't know. Um, but basically, 26%, or well, let's be fair, because we also have that single film, digital digit film that did well presence. So 29% of films have done well, compared to the 69% of films that have not done well, according to my calculations, which again are not complete. Missing a few films here and there, and generally the percentages are not completely, you know, completely correct. But it's again just to give you some kind of illustration as to where films are and how successful and not they are successful they have been. Compared to this, where on the from last year we had, at least by what I've put on that list, we had 40% of films that were double digit that did well compared to the 20% that are doing well right now. We have 10% of triple digits, uh, which both for there's 2 to 2, so okay, so that's fair. I mean that's basically one and the same. They're both at the same rates in the triple digit uh, areas. It's just again different graphs, larger amounts. So percentage wise, there's also differences, but there's 2 to 2. Okay, you know. Um, and we have more failures on the triple range side compared to last year, and just largely on the double digit side, just a lot more failure compared to what last year was. So, at least by notability wise. So yeah, this year it there's some consistencies within the triple digit ranges, uh, and less so everywhere else. I mean, it's just uh, very evident that this year is again kind of a down period, and it's really concerning. So yeah, I think that this year so far is not going off on the right foot. I definitely think the summer will probably be something of a bounce back, but I don't know if it's going to make or break the entire year. That's to be seen. But as you can tell, it's definitely still a trying time. And I think that my graphs, by the way, are not the best. So, don't take my graphs with at full face value. Just there's some discrepancies I totally acknowledge. But by general observation, you can tell that this year definitely has more diminishing returns than what last year's had to offer, at least by just looking at specifics. So, but you guys let me know. How do you feel this first quarter compares to last year's first quarter? Do you guys think that it's last year's was actually weaker compared to this year? Do you think this year's stronger? Let me know. And what are your expectations for the summer? What films do you guys think are going to do well and not well? Just generally, how do you feel the summer is going to do well for films? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.